ZEB for inviting us to be a part of this. I'm here representing the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship. The focus of this particular panel is on innovative strategies for business. And so what are you doing as entrepreneurs to be innovative in a number of different dimensions? And so we're going to dive into that. Anybody here familiar with the name Peter Drucker? I'll tell you how fast, so a few. Okay, so you show your age possibly by doing that. But he was a very influential 20th century thinker in regard to business management, but also entrepreneurship. And one of his specific sayings about entrepreneurship was that innovation was the specific tool of the entrepreneur. And so I think that sets up what you guys are doing here today. And the first question that I want you to kind of consider and think about from your experience is this idea that, we know innovation is crucial to business success. And could each of you share a very specific innovative strategy or practice that you've been using that's been a game changer for your company?
Where we're from, contractors have a certain reputation, right? There's a certain stereotype when you hear construction or contractor. We think, oh, they like to cut corners, or oh, they're a little greasy, or even oh, they're unsophisticated, or oh, you better watch them or they're going to cheat you. So there's a lot of stuff when I walk into a room with a client that we immediately have to overcome. We don't want to be just like that other contractor. So really for us, our mantra is to kind of be the anti-contractor in a way. Almost carrying on to what Gardner was saying earlier is a lot of our jobs, there's hardly a job that, we only install what we bid. A lot of times even just a fresh coat of paint on a few fixtures in the parking lot will just make people over the moon happy. Using the latest and embracing the latest technology, producing project-specific dashboards for our clients so they can look at various key performance indicators to get a quick indication of the overall health on the job. Partnering with them, taking it easy, telling them, hey, that's extra, but guess what? We're going to absorb this for the sake of the partnership. And guess what? That's led to an environment where we're not racing to the bottom dollar every time. They know that they are getting the best value with Hal Hayes Construction. They know that, hey, Hal Hayes Construction might be a little bit more expensive than the low guy, but we know we're going to get a complete job. We know it's going to be delivered safely, on time, and under budget. So for us, it's I don't know how related to technology it is. We use tools within technology to support our initiatives, but really it's a whole mindset of trying to kind of buck the trends in our industry.
So on the one company, Mountain Services, since we provide services to developmentally disabled adults and children, obviously most of the people I come in contact with me are not potential customers for me. My market base is not people in the community. On the other side of the business with the supplies, some of it can be, but for us, the way we've innovated or been different in our industry is kind of the same sort of thing. We're in distribution. We buy product, we resell it, we distribute it to our facilities. But we've just made ourselves in our industry and in the community as a whole as a company that gives back and cares for people. So the way we just present ourselves and do everything is that our company is 100% caring for people 100% of the time. So when I go out and I meet people and I talk and I'm in the community to share, I never share about what we do as a company or what my business does or how we do it. I just share about how we care for people. We care for people and we help people. And that always leads to something. We think innovation, as Mike said, and I know of course as being technology. We do use technology based on our distribution centers, but what we do is very specified for the kind of homes we service. So it isn't so much innovating in technology side, it's more innovating on how we position the company as what we do. And I'll meet people in the community, they'll introduce me to somebody else and say, I have a family member who has a disabled child or adult or a senior, a lot of seniors we help, and they say, I met Eric and I know he can help you, and they connect me, and then sure enough I can help them with supplies, but they remembered me because we help people, and that's kind of our innovation thing that we do. It's not so much about what we offer, the product or service, it's about that we care and we help people. That's what we share.
Absolutely. So, very similar. We work primarily with kids, but now we are going into more adult programs. I truly believe with great influence comes great responsibility. So how we promote innovation throughout the school districts is really having more responsibility over the content that's delivered to our children. Also following that up with the fact that innovation is so important because it's continually changing, and how we're delivering that not only to the students, but how the teachers are approaching that. And I think one big thing that we are doing at Garner Holt Education and Imagination is getting more involved with the community. So asking the community, what do you need? What are your needs in the community that you're serving? For instance, right now working with some of the library systems locally, city and county, what are some of the things that you're doing and what are some of the things that we can do to help not only our K-12, but our adult learners who are wanting entrepreneurship skills, right? So they're wanting to come into some of these libraries and learning 3D printing, learning manufacturing and the basis of those. So not only are we promoting that in innovation, but we're also promoting the entrepreneurship within the community. So this is a great example of what we can do in our industry to continue to connect together, meet other leaders of innovation, and continue to stay responsible.
Great stuff, but is there a secret sauce, kind of an innovative practice, something you do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in each of your companies, beyond the marketing, beyond the positioning, that could be a nugget for the entrepreneurs in the audience, that they could go, well, that's really cool, or they could see how this, I could take that and apply that in my business.
Great question. I think one of the things that we have to really focus on is when we're looking at trends, not just following the trend, but being the trend setter. And so that was one of the questions that was asked earlier about staying innovative and continually being able to change while technology is changing. So the one way that we do that is make sure that we're asking our customers, our partners, more of what they need. So we do that through focus groups, we do that through surveys, we do that through bringing them into our facility to see what we have, and then asking them, what can you dream of, or what do you need? Because Garner, as he said, has built some of the most amazing attractions around the world. So let us do that for you. So we're not a cookie cutter. We don't have a menu of items to choose from. We're asking them, what is it that you need and how can we develop it?
I was going to say very similar thing to that. So going out into the community and meeting people and finding out what the need is. My saying that I always say all the time and my team says, I've got it plastered all over my office and my building, I share it on my LinkedIn all the time, is they said the more people we meet, the more people we can help. I can't help people if I don't meet people. I need to meet somebody and they need to share my story about my business with someone else for me to help them. If we just stayed in the office and was in Redlands or Orange County, one of the buildings, we never did anything in the community, nobody would know what we do or that we're there, because, like I said, my market is kind of niche. But we're constantly, last year I attended 140 events. I speak at things like this all the time that I'm invited to, Kirby and ZEB and others that know me in the community, just to share what we do and how we give back and how we help people. And always somebody comes up to me afterwards or talks to me and says, I want my business to do the same thing. How do we do that? Then I connect with them and share how we give back, what we do, who we support, all the community events we're involved in, all the charities we help, and then in turn that turns into some sort of a business relationship. So I'm always out in the community asking who has a need and can we fill it. For many years, 30 plus years of the business, we were just serving developmentally disabled adults and children. In 2013, a lot of people were coming to me saying, I have a senior family member, I have a grandma, or I have a mom who's aging and we need medical supplies for them at their home, can you help them? Which we could, but that really wasn't our market. So in 2013, we expanded into the senior care market. Now we ship out over 1,000 orders a day all across the United States. I'm in every state in the US shipping orders to seniors in their home. That wasn't even part of our business model. It just came out of a necessity of people just kept coming to me saying, Eric, I know what you do. I know you can help people with these services. Can you help my family member? And it just grew. So I think just being in the community, being out there talking to people, finding out what the need is, and finding out how you can fill it. Whatever industry you're in, but there's need. So if the need's there, just find out how your company can fill that need.
Kind of going back to what we do a lot of project-based kits, right? So Garner talks a little bit about our Tiki Bird kit, which is a small animated bird that you're able to fully put animatronics into it, and the kids get to do, everything from programming it, coding it, doing voiceover, everything from engineering to art and figure finishing, all of it, right? So you got about 25 different pathways in this one little bird. So our plan was to get this out to the school districts, get this so the kids can get really excited about STEAM. Well, what ended up happening is that we started finding other things that were coming out of the small little bird. Social emotional learning. We have kids that were SPED students who were just coming alive when they started doing this and telling their story. We had kids that were had childhood trauma that weren't speaking, and then when they wrote their script for this bird, they started just to really tell their story. And so it's led to all these different things. And I think one of the things that can really keep a company back is just staying within their industry and going to the conferences for education only, or going to the building conferences and not really going out into the community and saying, how can we align, right? I'm already thinking about how I can align with you right now, because there are parallels between everything that we do. So I absolutely agree.
And we did that actually. So we met on LinkedIn, and I sent him a message and said, I want to meet you. I love what you're doing in the construction industry. It has nothing to do with medical supplies, but I loved him as a leader, and I wanted to do stuff with him. Then he met me at an event. Now we've been at multiple awards events where we both received honors. We're speaking at this together. We didn't even know today. We just keep running into each other where we go, but we connected, and we're like, we both have the same passion to help people in two different complete industries. And now this last year, we've been at dozens of things together. So it just gravitated that way.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, coming from the construction industry, it's no secret that, I think as a whole, the technology in the construction industry is kind of lagging behind everything else. So I'll get real specific here. Well, while I'm quick to say it's lagging, honestly, I don't think we're that far away from a world where you drive by a construction site and there's nobody operating the machines on site. We're going to be seeing a world here in the next 20 years where, a lot of those kids that are locked in their basement being the gamers with the double joysticks, honestly, I think those are going to be our equipment operators one day. We're not that far away from that. So, I'm excited to see where the construction field goes, but going back to what are we doing with technology, I don't think we need to do a deep dive into AI. But what I'll say is, our construction and our project management, our day-to-day absolutely relies on artificial intelligence and ChatGPT right now. I would say if you're not using ChatGPT, then you're almost to the point where you're too late. It sounds intimidating, artificial intelligence. It's really not. It's its own kind of conversational, and just how much time it saves. Going back to what I was saying last time, where we do truly strive to be the best. Well, there's a cost with that. It puts a lot on our project managers. It puts a lot on our teams to communicate. And so any areas that we can go and become more efficient, especially with the mundane work, especially with things like data entry, data analysis, things like that, mass emails and things like that. The time that we save as a team, on a week-to-week basis, I would venture to guess that at this point we save hundreds of hours a week in our office of 40 people, just using artificial intelligence, and I'm talking basic stuff. So, and then kind of taking that a step further, we are actually we built our own app, and that was something where, as a construction company, they try to have these one-size-fits-all softwares, and all construction is not the same. You have big jobs, you have little jobs, you have big companies, little companies, you have jobs that come above the ground and jobs that go below the ground. And it's, we went through and we struck out for several years as far as, trying to implement softwares and paying tens of thousands of dollars a year for them, and they just weren't working. And so finally, we took our three biggest problems, and we found a developer, and we said, hey, we need an app to solve three things. We need to solve our daily reports coming in from our job sites, our time and materials invoices, and our weekly dispatch for our guys. They were kind of all in shambles. And so we actually took a weakness, and with technology, we were able to turn it into a strength. We have about 450 people, to give you context for size, and so I think to develop that app, it was somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000. So in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that much related to the size of the company that we are.
So one thing that's a challenge. How many business owners do we have in the room? Show of hands. All right. So the great thing we always say about being owning your own business, being an entrepreneur, is that you get to pick the hours that you work. You get to pick the 18 hours a day that you're going to work. The ultimate flexibility. And that's because you're doing a lot of different things, keeping the business operating, wearing a lot of hats, particularly if you're a smaller company. So this question is geared towards that. It's like, how do you balance being forward-looking and trying to be innovative with just running a business day to day, trying to keep up with the things that are on your desk and coming across at you every day. How do you do that? How do you keep an innovation focus when you're in the trenches?
For me, it's super relevant, especially having just gone through our succession plan. The name of our company is Hal Hayes Construction. That's my dad, and so just having gone through this succession plan after 30 years of us being in business, his recipe has been tried and true. So my job mostly has been trying to bring the company into a new age while staying true to the core values that built the company, along with the basic practices that got us here, that made us a successful company. So for me, mostly it's been staying in tune with various markets, emerging markets, being really in tune with that. My one quote that I like, I think it's a Wayne Gretzky quote that he says, "I'm skating to where the puck is going to be, not where it's already been." And so for us, especially in the construction industry, again, it sounds like I have a complex or something, but almost anybody, at the end of the day, almost anybody can do what we do, from a construction standpoint. So we're always looking for the next protected market. We're not looking to go, hit our heads against, every contractor in Southern California that paves parking lots. We're looking for Congress is earmarking, X billion dollars for electric vehicle infrastructure over the next 15 years, or, the great big hydrogen initiative that's about to come with the gas industry. That's where we've really been able to be successful, positioning ourselves. I would say that we're very in tune with market analysis and understanding what's coming, looking at things like fiscal dollars and where they're earmarked for.
I have a very different answer. So I suck at it. I'm horrible. I don't manage time well at all. In terms of, they always ask that, like, how do you manage your companies, and how do you find the downtime, and how do you do all that? I don't. Like Garner is 22 hours of the day. I'm probably working. I'm sure Kirby's doing the same out of the 24. So I'm really bad at it, but what I found for myself is my passion is helping other people, since that's what our businesses do. So I find my best time to get away from the business and to do something is when I'm volunteering in a nonprofit. So I'm on the board for about 7 nonprofits. I support lots of them all year long. And for me, when I'm outside of the business, I'm still working and doing stuff, but I'm supporting something I'm passionate about. And that gives me so much time for myself, for me to not be thinking about the business, because if I'm not helping someone, then I'm thinking about the business, growing the business, expanding the business, what can we do, what more can we do. So for me, my downtime comes when I'm helping other people and giving back. So I do a lot of that because that's what I find joy in, and that's the only time I'm really not working on the business. So innovating for me is when I'm doing stuff for other people.
Mine's a little kind of this balance between both of you guys. Education through Imagination is going on its 6th year. I took over about 2 years ago, and we really reinvented, reimagined, and started to pursue other areas in STEAM education. So in that, I took a valuable lesson from Garner, was to hire the best and trust that you hired the best, right? And so be able to train and work with those people, but be able to trust that they're making the right decisions, because you can't be there 24/7, right? If you try to do it all and you try to own it all, you're going to burn out. And it's just not going to be the right mix for you in the company. So hiring the best, and I know this sounds cliche, but I like to hire people that know more than me. And that for a reason. I am not a computer programmer, I am not a coder, and I'm not going to try to say I am. But I know that I want to hire somebody that I can trust. I'm going on vacation starting tomorrow, so I know that I can leave the company to go on vacation and enjoy myself and not be on my phone checking everything or calling in. And this was a lesson I learned actually from Garner. And I appreciate that, because when I first started, I felt like I needed to own everything. And it started to become a little transparent with that with my employees, and they felt it. And so that is something where you step back and you know that the people that you put in place are the right people. Going back to the first panel, if they're not, you're gonna know, right? And don't be afraid to say they may not be the right person. So that's the work-life balance. Also, going back to what Garner says, I don't feel like I go to work every day because I love what I do. And again, that might sound cliche, but I'm working right now, and I love this. We are engaging, we are influencing, we are collaborating, and so it becomes a part of your life where you don't feel like you're at work. And those are beautiful things to take away from that.
So how do you cultivate an environment in your company where innovation is happening everywhere?
Earlier we heard, I work with a lot of millennials and it's kind of a joke, but it's not, because my staff is all millennials. And I've heard before in the past, people would say, you have to really kind of, they are thought leaders, they are thinkers, they think outside of the box, and they collaborate. And that's one thing with the millennial generation, is that they do come together as a team and collaborate. They don't want to own it all, and they work as a team. So there's that thing. I like to leave the creative table open. And so when we do have meetings and we sit together as a team, I listen to all of them. My receptionist is in our meetings. Because I'm going to tell you, my receptionist knows more about what's going on in the inner workings of that company than probably most people and department heads. So I want to hear from everybody, and I think that that's one of the things that you need to do, is having respect for your CEO and your janitor, right? And hearing from them. One of the things that I think would stop innovation and progress for a leader is try to take ownership for everything, right? So I will sit down with our administrative team or our executive team, and we'll think through things, we'll make decisions, and then when I bring that to our team, they execute the plan, right? So you can have the big ideas as the leader, you can have the big innovative ideas and bring that to your team, but it's your team who's executing them. And I think you always have to give back to your team and thank them for their work, recognize them for their work. Otherwise, you're just going to have a team that's just not really motivated.
So on that question, Jeff, before, I 100% agree with this. So for the first 29 years of the businesses, I ran the day-to-day, signed the checks, reviewed everything, looked at everything, was involved in everything, every single day, every meeting, everything that existed. And then a few years ago, I did exactly what Mike said. I was doing reading and studying, and I realized that I'm a visionary leader, and that was way not my strength, and I needed to be utilized to do so much more. So I gave it up to the management team, and I don't run the day-to-day of either one of the companies anymore. I haven't for the last 4 years. I'm involved once a week on a Thursday for one meeting. That's it. The rest of the time, the entire team runs the companies, but I'm the one that's coming up with all the ideas and the visionary and thinking of things and what do we do. And they joke at the office, they laugh, and my son nicknamed it and the team did. They call me the Tasmanian Devil when I come in the office, because on Thursdays I come through, I destroy everything and I leave, and then it takes them a week to get back on track to figure out, because they said I come in with so many ideas, but they're always so ready for those ideas. They know when I hit the door that they're like, okay, what's the next big thing? And I tell them a million things, and we only implement a few, or we can only do a few, but they know and expect that that's what I'm bringing in. And then I leave, and I leave it up to the team, and they figure it out, and I come back the next week, and they always have these amazing things that they say, here's what we're going to do. I'm like, great, I had no idea how we were going to do it, I just knew we needed to do it. So I've given all that up, and it's changed my life, and it's changed, well, it gives me time to do what I love, which is going on in the community, but it's also now the team, they're so passionate about what we do as an organization that they own every idea that I have, and when I was leading everything, they didn't own the ideas. So I mean, it really took a big shift.
Right. Do you have a set of core values that are explicit in your organization that include innovation, and do you live that every day so that you are creating that culture of innovation?
So we have 3 core values that my companies both live by. It's caring, reasonable, and honest. So we have that plastered everywhere. I post it on LinkedIn every single day, 365 days a year. You go to my LinkedIn, you'll see that every single post that I post, I put caring, dependable, and honest. That's what our company is. That's what we stand by. My employees have to fit those 3 values. My customers have to fit those 3 values. My vendors have to fit those 3 values. And all my relationships have to fit those 3 values. If they don't, I don't do business with them. I don't have them work for me. I don't have them as a vendor for me. So those are the 3, my personal core values, which are my business values. And I don't know how much they innovate, but they're all related to people, caring, dependable, and honest. And that's what my team is. And so that's when we go to the community, that's what people know my business is for. because those are the values we live by. And I did that probably about 3 or 4 years ago also, and that was a huge transition for the company because we had a mission statement for both companies at 37 years old. We had a vision statement, nobody knew it, they couldn't memorize it, they didn't know, I couldn't recite our mission statement. It was just something that was on the wall in the conference room and it had been there for years. But once we just came up with those 3 core values, and they're just 3 words, then we can all live by it. And everybody embraced it, and the way we came up with them, just I'll give you that, so it was we polled all of our customers, all of our vendors, and all of our employees and said, please give us words that you think are what our company is, and out of that we took the 3 words that were repeated the most, and that's the words that we came up with. That's how we got caring, dependable, and honest, because that's what everyone told us that they saw in my companies.
In the last year and a half, going on 2 years, Garner Education Through Imagination has gone through just a huge transition and growth spurt. And so we are being very cautious with growing fast, but because of that, our team that has been with us through this transition, we have lost one employee. Through all of this innovation and all the change, everybody has been committed to the growth and to the changes that they've seen when I came in. And so we're in the middle of that, and we're doing exactly that. We're surveying our employees that have been with us, and we're asking them to help us build that mission statement. It's something they're proud of, something that they're taking very serious, and we plan to have them with us for a long time. So also going back to you, one of the things you said, another thing that we don't stay at or where we are is that's not my job, right? So that's something that we don't hear. I have really taken on other things that is not my job. It's something that we are all proud of, and so at our company we do that as well.
So we have 6 core values. I'm not going to name them all, but probably the one that's closest to innovation would be continuous improvement. And for us, that has somewhat of a double meaning. You know, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier about building a better mousetrap, right? Always raising the bar, always looking to get better. And then, you know, the other side of it would be, as a mid to large size construction company, we make hundreds of mistakes every day. And it's about, you know, realizing that mistake and having the confidence and vulnerability to acknowledge that mistake, understand what went wrong, and try to get better for it, to eliminate it in the future. So kind of a double meaning there, but yeah, we are always raising the bar, and we tap on that continuous improvement one day.
The professor in me is sensing that the audience is ready to ask questions.
What would you do about your very good employees who are already they're expert in this field, but of course at some point, you know, AI has to take over. What do you do with people like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I mean, I think it kind of opens up a bigger discussion about where we're headed, you know, as a society. But you know, specifically to our business, you know, thankfully we don't. I would say even our administrative roles are so complex. They're complex enough that, you know, the threat of job infringement isn't happening in the next decade for us, at least the next 5 years for us. But you know, I mean, with knowing very little about the situation, I mean, I would encourage you to, I mean, how can you take that and turn that into a weapon's a strong word, but how can you turn it into a benefit? How can you become a leader in that forefront if you already have the experts in that area? What can you do to parlay that and take your business to another level to, number one, help them feel secure where they're not going to fly the coop on you, and then continue to separate your business from its competition? I would really push you to find a way to use that.
As a program developer with Education and Imagination, AI is a big part of what we do, right? So responsibility, ensuring that students are learning with unbiased, right? No bias with learning the tools. But that's the word. That's the most important word when it comes to AI, is that it is a tool of innovation, right? It is something to help guide people, right? We have to teach kids and students and future leaders that it is a tool, but there has to be someone that knows how to develop the tool. There has to be somebody that knows how to unveil the tool and how to direct the tool and be responsible with that tool, right? So part of what we do is making sure that we are teaching not only the children, but also the teachers on how to approach that.
I'm trying to figure out, how do you reach out to the community for the school?
Ted Alejandro and Mauricio Arellano, who are the county and city superintendents here in San Bernardino, have witnessed and been a part of our growth. They've been with us since day one and have been able to speak to their educators about student outcomes, right? So data-driven results is one of the most important things when it comes to school districts. They want to know, what are they going to get out of this, right? We build our spaces, our maker spaces, as 21st century maker spaces that are spaces of innovation, the classroom of the future. So I'm going to give you a good example. About 5 years ago, there was a big boom for esports rooms, right? Everybody wanted these e-gaming rooms in their school districts, and they were super excited. They were pouring millions of dollars in these e-gaming rooms. But what we find now, 5 years later, is that it really only touched the niche market of students, right? So not everybody was super excited about going into e-gaming. What we've done is we've actually gone into the schools and said, okay, how do we incorporate that technology to touch all students in this, right? So whether we're taking the e-gaming room technology and incorporating that to a robotics figure and making those work together, or we have students who are interested in maybe the arts that are figure finishing the robot, coding a robot, and building their environments. So once we collected all of this data and we started showing how this touches the lives of each student, we were able to present that to school boards, school districts. So what happened is it started to trend, right? People started recognizing what San Bernardino County was doing in their STEM initiatives. And it started to catch on to the point where, yes, I do go. I just went to Boston and sat with the leaders of the Children's Museum there. We were in Florida. We just built a space there. We built a space in Kansas City. So we have spaces that are coming from Princeton, Texas, the third fastest growing city in the country right now, reached out to us, right? And so that's how that happens. They start to catch wind and they start to say, hey, how do we jump on that? So it's reputation, right? It's building trust within the local community to where people want to know what we're doing here. They're flying out from all over the country to come see what we're doing here in San Bernardino. So having the outlets that we have right now, talking to each other, they may not be in the same industry, but you see what the outcomes can be, and that's all through the data-driven. So yes, we do have marketing campaigns, but most of it is built on reputation and referral.
I would invite you to join me in thanking our panelists for the incredible job they did.